Hello everyone and welcome to today's video, which is a little different than my usual reading wrap-ups because I only managed to read 2 books in the month of February, which is probably like the lowest number of books I've read in about like 3 years. So because this video would be really short if I only talked about those 2 books, I am going to mix this video with a reading journal update because I realised I hadn't updated since like I first set up my reading journal at the beginning of the year. So I'll take you through some of the spreads that I've done so far, and then also I'll talk about some of the books that I'm hoping to read in the month of March. So firstly, we'll talk about the 2 books that I did manage to read in February. As you may have seen, I did post a TBR video earlier this month about like some of the romance books that I wanted to read. I did not get to any of them, but I do have one romance book that I read that was my current read at the time of that video, and that was Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. This is a new sports romance by Tessa Bailey, and it's about a golfer and a fan of the golfer. And I don't know a whole lot about golf, so I mean I don't know a whole lot about most sports, so I guess it doesn't really matter anyway, but I was like, golf seems really uninteresting, I wonder what this will be like. But I ended up quite enjoying it and I gave it a 3.5 stars. I believe this is also going to be a series. On the back you can see there, the next one is going to be called The Au Pair Affair, and it'll follow Josephine's best friend and this ice hockey guy who is friends with Wells, the main guy in this. So we've met them and we saw how that second book is going to be set up, and I'm really excited for that one because I do like a good ice hockey romance. But as for this one, was pleasantly surprised because I thought it would be boring because I think golf seems rather boring, but it's quite good. And I don't know if golf sports romances are common, but I'd never heard of any. So if you like golf and you like a sports romance, maybe give this one a try because it was quite good. And then the last book I read in February was The Busybody. I don't know what to think about this book. This is the first in a series. It's going to be called the Ghost Rider series, and it's about a ghost rider. Her name, do we know her name? Do we know her name? I don't think we know her name. Either that or I've just forgotten. Did we ever find out her name? I don't know. But she's a ghostwriter and she's going to write this memoir for this politician. And so she goes to the politician's house, and then nearby there's a murder, and then they get involved in the investigation of the murder, which first of all I was like, why? What are their motivations to do this investigation? Like there's literally no point at all. They barely know the people. Do they just want to do this for, I don't know, are they bored? I don't know. Like honestly, was a bit confused at why they cared so much. Second, how they were allowed anywhere near the investigation. And I know they did say at some points that like they shouldn't be able to be doing these things, but they can because obviously the politician, she was in like higher places. She was like running for president, so lots of people knew her, and I guess that helped them in a way. Like they had connections and they could get things, some information, right? But I was like, no, it wouldn't happen. I was just a bit like confused at what was the reason. I assume the second book in this series will also follow another murder mystery, and the ghostwriter once again will be trying to solve the mystery. But again, don't know how she would be able to do it. This one, she didn't even solve it. It was the politician. Well, like they were working together, but she didn't figure it out. She was just there for all the investigating bits. So I was just a little let down. Like the plot reveals and everything that were interesting. It was like fun to read about, but I just don't get the motivations. And so I only ended up giving this a 2.25 stars. And I don't know if I will continue this series when the second book comes out, but like it was fun and interesting to read at the time. But then afterwards I was like, but like why? Why? So yeah, I mean it was enjoyable. I did enjoy it, but it just like fell a bit flat for me in the reasoning. That's literally the only thing that I did not like about it. Because like why? Why were they so interested? Like I get they somewhat knew the person that was murdered, but like, why? They're not investigators. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know if that's just me, but yeah, anywho. So those were the 2 books that I read in February, but now it's time to look at my reading journal and set up for the month of March. So here's the update on the reading journal. I haven't done a whole lot since I first showed it in my preparing for 2024 video, but I do need to still fill out some things. I need to put in my favourite book of February, which obviously out of the 2 options I will have to pick Fangirl Down. And now we're getting to like the first bracket, so in here, the favourite books between January and February, I'm going to go with A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I also haven't filled out this. I have read 10 books so far this year, which I feel like is less than last year, but now I just have to look if I've got any more in here. I don't think I've continued any series recently, so I think that's done. I do need to fill out this. Look how crazy how many days I've missed. I swear I have not missed this much reading in a long time. And then of course I have my anticipated releases, which I put in here. I haven't actually used the library yet this year, so I still have that page empty. And then here is my January spread. I did go with like a blue and grey theme, and then for the book club pick I did it in red because it matches the vibe of that book. And as you can see here, I put a calendar so I can see what books I've read on what days. So like the change in colours is when I started a new book, and obviously at the end is when I didn't read, so I don't have anything there. But I managed to read 8 books in January, as you would have seen in my January reading wrap up. And then I've got my reading stats here, which has my books read, pages read, the ratings, the genres, and the author nationality, which the majority was from the US, but I've got 2 from Australia and 2 from the UK. And then I've also got a TBR, which I actually did pretty well. I read all the books except Iron Flame. I don't know why I'm putting that off. I think it's because I've heard like quite mixed opinions, so I'm just a bit nervous. But I didn't actually like film a TBR video for my January books, and I actually went quite well. But as you'll see later in my February one, how I did my TBR, and I actually filmed a TBR video, and then I ended up reading like barely any. I actually read none off that video, which is really disappointing. So I think it's like the curse of the TBR video from me. Anytime I make a video saying this is the books I want to read this month, I never actually get to it, which is really annoying. But when I wrote it down, I did. So maybe, I mean, I'm going to show you the books that I want to put in my March TBR today anyway. So like, I don't know if the TBR curse is back. We shall soon see. And then I have my review pages where I've got my book covers, the titles, some pictures as well. I do have some like blank spaces. I don't know what to do with that. I think I'm just going to leave it empty because I don't know what to do. Also, what I thought was fun to include in my review pages, as well as like the genres, which I do have here, I've got characters, because I feel like half the time I always forget the main character's name in books. So yeah, I have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, The Italian Marriage, and then I've got a double page here of Andromache Between Worlds and I'm Glad My Mum Died. Then I have a full page of Love on the Brain because I really enjoyed that book. Did a little collage here. Found these photos on Pinterest. I find most of my photos on Pinterest, but I was really happy with how this page turned out. And then I have One Dark Window, which again, really like the look of that. And then another double page with Icebreaker and The 7-Year Slip, which again, I think this page looks really good. I love the colors I used, and I was really happy with the way like the fonts worked out. I'm not great at doing fonts, but like I try my best. Speaking of the fonts, I have added a few new pages. As you can see here, I haven't finished obviously, but I've added new pages because I was like, at the end of January, I would like to keep track of these things too. So I've done a 24 books in 2024 spread. As you can see, I've just like done in pencil so far. I don't know if I'm going to like outline in black and then color it in once I've read it, or if I'm just not going to do the outlines until I've read the book. I feel like I should do the outlines. Obviously I haven't filled in this page, but I was like getting a bit burnt out with the fonts. So like, as you can see for Powerless, could not be bothered to try for that font. I don't know, but like I tried really hard on like my romance side. I think it looks really good. But yeah, I still don't know what other books to put in here. I'm like having to think, because I feel like 24 books is actually kind of a lot, so I don't really know what I want to put in here. But yeah, I've got my romance side. I think this is going to be like fantasy dystopian side, or any other books that aren't specifically romance, so they would go on this side. But yeah, this is it so far. I think it looks great. Questionable color choice up here. I don't know if I love those colors, but I feel like once these are all colored in and it's all kind of rainbow, it'll look nice. But yeah, then I have a page of publisher mail where I can like track what I've been sent and if I've read it. So obviously I've read these, I've got 2 more to read, so they'll be on my March TBR. But yeah, I've just set up this page. Obviously I haven't done anything on here because I don't need to just yet, but like if this fills up then I'll put it here. But otherwise maybe I'll just do like books that I bought so I can see if I'm actually reading the things I buy as well. I like how this looks. I like my little envelope with the heart. I think that looks super cute. But then we're going into February, which obviously not a lot happened. As you can see, only 2 books. Only 2 books. I didn't even get to the book of the month, which is really disappointing because I was hoping to read all the books of the month from the book club this year. I still can read it because I did buy it, so I will get to it eventually, but I just didn't get to it in the month of February, which is really disappointing. Again, there's my TBR. Didn't actually read it all, did I? I haven't actually put in how many pages I've read yet, so I will need to calculate that. But yeah, I've got my star ratings, 2 books from authors from the US. Romance, mystery, that's, yeah, not a lot to show really for this month, which is really disappointing. And then I'm gonna leave 2 pages here for the reviews. I haven't printed out any of the book covers yet because I want to wait until I have more pictures to print because I don't want to waste the paper, but I will leave these pages for my reviews. And now I will set up March. I don't know what colours to use for March, but I really enjoyed the colour scheme that I did in February. I did that because it's like Valentine's Day month and I wanted like pinks and purples, so I think that looks super cute, but I don't know what to do for March. I want to do blue, but I literally just did blue in January, so I don't know. Do I do like yellow and orange or something? I'm just gonna test the colors on my back page like I always do, because I've got to make sure that my color schemes go well together. What's this? I think this is like a fluoro. I don't know how that will go. Yeah. Ooh, that's questionable. Maybe I'll put that aside. Also, I feel like these are very like autumnal colors, and it has just hit autumn in Australia, so I feel like this matches the vibe. I don't know like if I should do a certain font or anything. I might use yellow. March, that's not very scented, but we don't care. Yay, done. Now I have to do book of the month, which is, if you're not keeping up to date with Book Chuck Book Club on Instagram, our book of the month is A Deadly Education, which I've started on audiobook and I'm quite liking it so far. I've only listened to like about 40 minutes of it, but it's quite good. I'm going to use this blue colour actually to write the title of A Deadly Education because the book cover's blue, so I feel like the oranges and the blues, I feel like that might look nice. I don't know. This is the book cover. I don't know if I should try and like mimic the font or if that would be too hard. I feel like that looks kind of difficult. Oh, should I try? Maybe I'll try pencil first. I think that's okay. Okay, I'm gonna try. Let's see how it goes. Okay, I feel like that looks quite good. Now it's time for the TBR and reading statistics page. I'm just going to go in alternating colours for the title. For the first books on my TBR, I'm just going to put the books that I've been sent recently that I have to get to. So first we have Indigo Ridge, which is my current read at the moment, and I'm really enjoying it. I think I just hit the 100-page mark, and it's quite good, so I really like that. And then I also got sent recently Butter, which is a Japanese book, but it recently got translated, I think, so that's pretty new. And then I also, of course, have to read the book of the month. And I also really want to catch up on last month's book of the month, which was Unravel Me. So that is also going on the list. And other than that, I'm not sure what other books I have as like a high priority. I'll just leave a few more spaces for books when I come up with them. I don't know where that stopped recording because I did just hear the camera click off, but I've just done the little highlighted borders to write my titles, which will be genres over here, author nationality, here is books read, and then pages read. And then I'll just do my stars for the ratings. And there we go, there is the setup for March, and obviously as I read my books I will do my review pages along here, but otherwise I think this looks really good. I'm really happy with the colour scheme that I picked this month, and I look forward to filling out more of my review pages so they all look as cute as these. So that was my reading journal setup, and as you would have seen, I did have my TBR books, so I'll quickly go through them now. Obviously my current read, Indigo Ridge, I'm currently on page 108. I'm really enjoying this. I got sent this from Penguin middle of last month, I think, and I was like really looking forward to reading it because obviously this book has been out for a while, but it was just self-published, so it recently got published with Penguin, and I've been so excited about it, and it is so good. It has not disappointed as of yet. It's really interesting, and I think this is classified as a romance book, but it's got like mystery aspects as well. The main character, she is the chief of police in this new town, so she's trying to solve this death that happens, and I'm really interested in it so far. Really like it, and this is quite a long series as well, so I am really excited to continue with this. And then next, of course, Unravel Me, which was the BookTok Book Club Book of the Month pick for February. I have to read this month because I don't want to be behind, and this was the February book. The March book, as I was saying before, is A Deadly Education, which I have started, so that's also on the TBR. As I've mentioned before, this is a third in a companion series, and I have not read the other two, but I'm still going to read this, even though I haven't read the other ones, but I'm really hoping for good things. Once again, ice hockey sports romance, so I'm sure it's going to be great. Then the last book I have is Butter, and this is a Japanese book, but it's been translated, obviously, because I cannot read Japanese. But this sounds really interesting. It's about this character who is convicted of being like a serial killer, but then this other lady like sends letters to her in jail asking for recipes or something. It seems interesting. I believe the lady that starts sending the letters then also might become a murderer. Look, I've got no clue, but it sounds interesting, looks cool, so I will be reading this after I read Indigo Ridge. But that is all for today. I hope you enjoyed this video because it was kind of like a different layout. But let me know if you enjoyed seeing some of like the reading journal flip throughs, because otherwise I'll start doing more of them at the end of each month, as well as my reading wrap ups. So if you did like it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments your thoughts, and don't forget to subscribe because I do post new videos every single week and you do not want to miss them. But that is it for today. I will see you next week. Goodbye.